Have you ever just sat for a moment, maybe with your morning coffee, and truly wondered, how do the people who have achieved so much, who have built these incredible lives, how do they think differently from everyone else? It's a question that can keep you up at night. You see these titans of industry, these creative geniuses, these visionaries, and you have to ask yourself, what is the secret ingredient? Is it just luck? Is it something they were born with? Or is it something deeper? Something that we can all learn? Something that we can all cultivate within ourselves to change the very trajectory of our own lives? Why is it that some people seem to walk through life with a magnet for opportunity, attracting success and abundance as if it's their birthright, while so many others feel like they're stranded on an island of scarcity, watching the ships of opportunity sail right on by? It's not about where you start. It's not about the money you have in the bank right now. It's about the landscape of your mind. It's about the stories you tell yourself when you wake up in the morning and when you lay your head down at night. It's a fundamental shift in perspective that separates those who dream from those who do. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain. We're going deep into the mindsets of 7 of the most successful people on this planet. From my own journey to the incredible stories of Elon Musk, from the wisdom of Warren Buffett to the empire of JayZ and Rihanna. We are going to uncover the key attitudes, the pivotal choices, and the core strategies that didn't just lead to their wealth, but that forged their character and made their incredible success possible. This isn't just about money. It's about a richness of spirit, a wealth of possibility, and the power that lies within you. So if you are ready to stop wondering and start transforming, if you are ready to learn how to think, and yes, how to earn, like the truly wealthy, then you're going to want to stick with me through to the very end of this video. This journey could be the one that changes everything for you. And if you find this helpful, and I know you will, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Here at Real Money Fi, we believe in turning those dreams and those side hustles into real, tangible financial freedom for you and your family. Let's begin. Now, I have to start with a story that is near and dear to my own heart, one that I have lived and breathed every single day of my life. It's the story of abundance. You see, I know what it feels like to come from a place of scarcity. I grew up in rural Mississippi, in poverty so deep that sometimes it felt like the world was telling me, there is not enough for you, not enough opportunity, not enough hope, not enough love. That feeling of not enough can become a prison, a tiny little box that your spirit gets trapped in. It whispers that the pie is only so big, and if someone else gets a slice, that means there's less for you. But somewhere along the way, a light turned on for me. A fundamental shift happened inside my soul. I started to understand that the universe is not a place of limitation. It is a place of infinite possibility. It's a shift from seeing a closed door to seeing 1,000 other doors just waiting to be opened. It's understanding that someone else's success does not diminish your own. In fact, it can illuminate the path for you. It's believing, truly believing in your bones, that there is enough for everybody. Enough success, enough joy, enough wealth, enough love. It's a mindset of plenty. This isn't just wishful thinking. This is a spiritual and practical principle that governs our reality. When you operate from a place of scarcity, you become fearful. You hoard what little you think you have. You become jealous of others, and you close yourself off from the flow of blessings that are trying to find their way to you. You are so focused on what you might lose that you cannot see all that you have to gain. You are essentially telling the universe, don't send me anything new. I'm too busy protecting the little I have. And the universe, my friends, listens. But when you embrace an abundance mindset, everything changes. You start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You celebrate the success of others because you know it's a sign of what's possible for you too. You become a magnet for generosity, for creativity, for connection, because you are open to receiving. You understand that life is not a zero-sum game. It's a grand, ever-expanding banquet, and there is a seat at the table with your name on it, just waiting for you to claim it. The world is waiting to give you more. I've said it for years, and I will say it until my last breath. The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. This is the absolute truth of my life. It wasn't a lottery ticket that changed my circumstances. It wasn't a magic wand. It was the moment I decided to take control of the one thing I had absolute power over, my own mind. I chose to believe in a future that was bigger than my past. I chose to see every setback not as a failure, but as a lesson from the universe, redirecting me toward my true path. Think about it in your own life. How many times have you told yourself, I can't do that, or that's not for people like me? Each one of those statements is a brick you are laying in the wall of your own prison. You are literally building the limitations that hold you back. Changing your attitude means tearing down that wall, brick by brick. It means replacing I can't with, how can I? It means replacing, it's impossible with, what's the first step? This isn't about ignoring reality, it's about creating a new one with your focus, your energy, and your belief. The takeaway here is so powerful, and I want you to really let this sink in. You must learn to see abundance where you have been trained to see scarcity. Look at your life right now. Instead of focusing on the money you don't have, acknowledge the skills you do have. Instead of lamenting the opportunities you missed, look for the ones that are right in front of you today. Abundance is a practice. It's a muscle you have to build. Start a gratitude journal. Every single day, write down 3 things you are thankful for. This simple act retrains your brain to scan the world for positives, for what you have, not what you lack. This is the foundation upon which all other success is built. Before you can attract wealth, you must feel worthy of it. Before you can seize opportunity, you must believe it exists for you. It all begins with that internal shift. Stop looking at the world as a place of limited resources and start seeing it as a field of infinite potential. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That is the first and most important secret of how the rich think. They don't just see the world differently, they create their world with their thoughts. Now let's talk about a man who seems to operate on a completely different wavelength from most of us, Elon Musk. When you look at his journey, it's a masterclass in what it means to risk it all. This is a man who took the millions he made from his first major success, PayPal, and instead of buying an island and retiring, he poured every single penny into 2 ventures that everyone, and I mean everyone, said were doomed to fail. He started a rocket company, SpaceX, and an electric car company, Tesla. Can you imagine the courage that takes? To bet your entire fortune on ideas that seemed like science fiction. Most people are terrified of risk. We're taught from a young age to play it safe, to color inside the lines, to follow the well-trodden path. The fear of failure can be paralyzing. It keeps us in jobs we don't love, in situations that don't serve us, because the unknown is just too scary. But what Musk understands is that true, world-changing innovation cannot happen without monumental risk. You cannot disrupt an entire industry by being timid. You cannot push humanity forward by playing it safe. He was willing to face bankruptcy, ridicule, and total failure for something he believed in. Think about the pressure he must have been under. In 2008, both Tesla and SpaceX were on the brink of collapse. His rockets were exploding on the launch pad, and Tesla was burning through cash with no profitable car to show for it. He had to borrow money to pay rent. He has said that he had to choose between putting his last remaining dollars into one company or splitting it between the two, knowing that either choice could lead to both failing. This wasn't just financial risk. It was a risk to his reputation, his legacy, his entire vision for the future. It was a moment of truth. This is where the mindset comes in. For Musk, the risk of not trying was greater than the risk of failing. The potential reward wasn't just financial. It was about solving problems that were important for the future of humanity. He saw a future dependent on sustainable energy and a multiplanetary existence as a necessary goal. The fear of that future not happening was a more powerful motivator than the fear of losing his money. He wasn't just building companies. He was trying to build a better world, and that mission made the risk worth taking. Elon Musk himself has a quote that I think gets to the very heart of this mindset. He said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." Read that again. Let it settle in your spirit. This isn't about reckless gambling. It's not about throwing caution to the wind for no reason. It is about having a mission, a purpose, a why that is so powerful, so deeply important to you, that it transcends the fear of failure. It's about aligning your actions with your deepest values, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, even when people tell you you're crazy. This leads us to the critical takeaway from his story. You must be willing to take calculated risks that are aligned with your goals. The key word there is calculated. This isn't about blindly jumping off a cliff. It's about doing your homework. Musk didn't just wake up and decide to build rockets. He taught himself rocket science. He understood the physics, the engineering, the economics. He calculated the odds, and even though they were low, he believed he saw a path, however narrow, to success. He made an educated bet, not a wild guess. So how do you apply this to your own life? You don't have to build a rocket company. but you might have to risk leaving a stable but unfulfilling job to start your own business. You might have to risk investing your savings into a new skill or a certification that could triple your income down the line. You might have to risk rejection by pitching your great idea to people who might say no. The first step is to define what is truly important to you. What is your mission? What is the goal that sets your soul on fire? Once you have that clarity, you can begin to evaluate risks, not based on the fear of loss, but on the potential for gain in service of that mission. Ask yourself, what is the absolute worst that could happen if I try this and fail? Often you'll find the worst case scenario is manageable. Then ask, what is the best that could happen if I succeed? And finally, the most important question, what will my life look like in 5 years if I don't take this risk? Often the risk of staying the same is the greatest risk of all. Now let's talk about a man they call the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett. When you hear that name, you think of immense wealth, don't you? Billions upon billions. You might picture mansions all over the world, a fleet of private jets, yachts in every port. But what if I told you that the truth of how he lives is one of the most powerful lessons you will ever learn about money? It's a lesson in patience, in humility, and in understanding that true wealth isn't about what you spend, but about what you keep and what you grow. It's a quiet wisdom that whispers while the world of finance shouts, a steady hand in a sea of volatility. He still lives in the same house he bought in Omaha, Nebraska, way back in 1958 for just over $31,000. Can you imagine that? A man who could buy any palace on earth chooses the comfort of home, the familiarity of his own neighborhood. He drives a modest car, he enjoys a simple breakfast. This isn't a performance, it's a profound philosophy. He teaches us that the flashy symbols of success are often just that, symbols. They are fleeting distractions from the real work of building something that lasts, something with deep roots that can weather any storm. He found his joy not in the spending, but in the masterful game of allocation and growth. This frugality, this choice to live simply, isn't about depriving himself. Oh no, it's about something much, much bigger. It's about discipline. It's about understanding the incredible, almost magical power of compounding. Every dollar he didn't spend on a fancier house or a more expensive meal was a seed he could plant in the fertile ground of the stock market. He knew that each one of those dollars, if left untouched, could grow into a mighty oak tree of wealth. It's a mindset that prioritizes the future over the fleeting gratification of the now, a testament to the power of delayed gratification. His life is a living, breathing testament to his most famous piece of advice. Someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. He wasn't just planting trees for himself, he was cultivating an entire forest. He understood that the small, consistent choices we make every single day, the choice to save instead of splurge, to invest instead of impress, are the very things that create the shade, the comfort, the security we all crave for our future. It's a lesson that is available to every single one of us, right here, right now, no matter how much is in our bank account today. So what is this magic he uses? This incredible force called compounding? I want you to picture a small snowball at the top of a very, very long hill. That's your initial investment. Now give it a little push. As it starts to roll, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and bigger. The bigger it gets, the more snow it picks up with each rotation. It starts slow, almost imperceptibly, but soon its growth becomes unstoppable, powerful, an avalanche of accumulation. That, my friends, is the essence of compounding. It's your money making money, and then the money that money made making even more money. Warren Buffett understood this principle deeper than almost anyone. He didn't chase the fast money, the hot stock tips, or the get-rich-quick schemes that promise the world overnight. He looked for solid, reliable companies and invested in them for the long haul. He let time and the power of compounding do the heavy lifting. This requires a stillness, a patience that our modern world doesn't often celebrate. We want everything yesterday. But true, lasting wealth, the kind that changes your family's future for generations, isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. It's about showing up, being consistent, and letting the snowball roll. The takeaway here is so profoundly simple, yet so incredibly powerful. Be patient and live below your means. This is the bedrock of the Buffett philosophy. It's about creating a gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap, that little bit of space you create, is where the magic happens. That is your investment capital. That is the snow for your snowball. It doesn't matter if the gap is $10 or $10,000. The principle is the same. Start where you are. Start today. Automate your savings, invest it wisely, and then have the patience to let it grow. This isn't just a financial strategy, it's a life strategy. It's about finding contentment in what you have so you can build the future you dream of. It's about trading the short-term thrill of a new purchase for the long-term peace of mind that financial security brings. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are planting those trees, that you are building a legacy of smart choices. You are creating your own shade for the future, one small, consistent, and powerful decision at a time, and that is a truth you can take to the bank. Now I want to talk about a man whose words have shaken up the way millions of people think about money. Robert Kiyosaki. His book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it wasn't just a book. For so many, it was an awakening. It was a light bulb moment that illuminated a path that had been hidden in plain sight. He gave us a new language, a new way to see the world of finance, not as something complex and intimidating, meant only for the experts, but as a simple set of rules that anyone could learn to play and win. He told a story of two fathers. One, his highly educated poor dad, who followed the traditional path, get a good education, find a safe, secure job, and work hard for your money. The other, his friend's rich dad, who taught him a different way. He taught him not to work for money, but to have money work for him. This was a radical idea. It challenged everything we were ever taught about a career and a paycheck. It flipped the script, suggesting that the goal wasn't just to earn more, but to own more, to own the things that generate the income. The core of this powerful lesson comes down to understanding two simple words: assets and liabilities. It's so simple, it's brilliant. An asset, he explained, is anything that puts money in your pocket. Think of a rental property that pays you every month, stocks that pay dividends, or a business that runs without you. A liability, on the other hand, is anything that takes money out of your pocket. That car payment, the mortgage on your personal residence, the credit card debt, they feel like possessions, but financially, they are obligations that drain your resources. This distinction is the key that unlocks the door to financial freedom. The middle class and the poor acquire liabilities that they think are assets. They buy the bigger house, the fancier car, and they wonder why they feel like they're stuck on a treadmill. The rich, however, focus their lives on acquiring income-generating assets. They use their income to buy more assets, which generate more income, which allows them to buy even more assets. It becomes a beautiful, powerful, upward spiral of wealth creation. So how do we put this into practice? It starts with a change in your thinking. Every time you are about to spend money, you have to ask yourself that one crucial question: am I buying an asset or a liability? This simple question can change the entire trajectory of your financial life. It's about shifting your focus from spending and consuming to owning and investing. Robert Kiyosaki famously said, "It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep." And I would add, it's about what you do with the money you keep. You have to make that money get up off the couch and go to work for you. That's the dream, isn't it? To create streams of income that are not dependent on you trading your precious time for a paycheck. This is how you buy back your time, which is the most valuable asset of all. The big takeaway from Robert Kiyosaki's philosophy is this: acquire assets, not liabilities. Your mission is to build a portfolio of assets that generates enough passive income to cover your monthly expenses. Once your passive income exceeds your expenses, you are financially free. It's about having the freedom to live life on your own terms. This journey begins with financial education. It begins with you taking the time to learn about different types of assets: real estate, stocks, starting a small business. So start small. Buy one share of a dividend-paying stock. Read a book about real estate investing. Turn your focus from the liabilities that drain you to the assets that will one day sustain you. Make your money work for you. All right, now we're going to talk about a powerhouse, a woman who redefined what it means to be a star in the 21st century. I'm talking about the one and only Rihanna. We first knew her as the chart-topping singer with a voice that could move the world and a style that was all her own. She gave us hit after hit, from Umbrella to Diamonds. She could have had an incredible, long-lasting career just in music. But Rihanna, she saw a bigger picture. She understood that her name, her influence, her connection with her audience, that was an asset more valuable than any platinum record. She saw a gap in the market. She looked at the beauty industry and saw that so many women, especially women of color, were being left out. The foundation shades weren't right. The marketing didn't speak to them. She saw exclusion, and where others saw a problem, she saw a massive opportunity. She didn't just lend her name to an existing company for a quick paycheck. Oh no, that's not her style. She went all in. She built her own company from the ground up. She created Fenty Beauty, and with it, she started a revolution. With one bold move, launching with 40 different foundation shades, she changed the entire beauty industry forever. It was a statement. It said, "I see you. You belong here. You are beautiful." She wasn't just selling makeup, she was selling inclusivity. She was selling belonging. And the world responded with a resounding yes. Fenty Beauty wasn't just a success, it was a phenomenon. It showed that building a business around a genuine need and an authentic mission could be incredibly profitable. She proved that you can do good and do well at the same time. Rihanna's journey teaches us a profound lesson about modern wealth. She once said, "I have a lot of other stuff going on. I'm a musician, a filmmaker, a designer. You can't put me in a box." This is the mindset of a true mogul. She refused to be limited to one category. She understood that the trust and admiration she had built with her fans through her music could be leveraged. It could be transferred into a new venture, giving her an incredible head start. She saw her brand not as a byproduct of her success, but as the engine for her future empire. So what can we all learn from this incredible businesswoman? The lesson is powerful, and it is for every single one of us, whether you have 1 million followers or just a few trusted friends. The takeaway is this: your brand and your network are financial assets. In today's world, your reputation, what you are known for, the trust people have in you, that is a form of currency. It has real, tangible value. You are building your brand every single day with every interaction, every post, every project you complete. You have to start treating it with that level of importance. Think about what you are an expert in. What do people come to you for advice about? Maybe you're the best baker in your neighborhood, or you give the most incredible career advice, or you have a real eye for home decor. That expertise, that passion, that is the core of your personal brand. Rihanna's brand was built on authenticity, confidence, and edginess. She translated that directly into her products. You have to identify your core values and live them out loud. Your authenticity is what will attract your tribe, your network, your future customers. Your network is the other side of this golden coin. It's the people who know you, like you, and trust you. This isn't about collecting thousands of superficial connections. It's about nurturing real relationships. Every person you help, every collaboration you do, every kind word you share. You are investing in your network. This network is what will support you when you launch your idea, buy your product, or recommend you for an opportunity. Rihanna didn't build Fenty in a vacuum. She built it for and with her global community of fans. So start today. Take inventory of your personal brand. What do you want to be known for? And start nurturing your network. Be a giver. Be a connector. Be a person of value. Because when you combine a strong, authentic brand with a loyal, supportive network, you have created a powerful financial asset. You have created leverage. You have built a platform from which you can launch anything. Just like Rihanna, you can refuse to be put in a box and build an empire that is uniquely, powerfully, and authentically you. Now, let's talk about a man who truly embodies the journey from the streets to the boardroom. A man who didn't just play the game, he changed it. I'm talking about Sean Carter, the man the world knows as JayZ. When you think of his story, you have to understand it's not just about music, it's about a vision that extended far beyond the recording studio. He saw the world not just as a stage, but as a chessboard, where every move was a calculated step toward building something that would last. It's a powerful lesson for all of us. Your current success, whatever it may be, is not the destination. It is the foundation, the launching pad for what comes next. He came from the Marcy Projects in Brooklyn, a place where the odds are stacked against you from day one. But within that struggle, he cultivated a keen sense of observation and an unshakable hustle. He didn't just see the block, he saw an economic ecosystem. He learned about supply and demand, risk and reward, and the art of the deal long before he ever signed a record contract. This wasn't just about survival, it was an education, an unconventional MBA earned on the streets. He translated that raw business acumen into his music, but more importantly, he knew that music was just the beginning of his empire. He understood that to build real, lasting wealth, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. This is where the mindset of diversification truly comes into play. You see, it would have been easy for him to stay in his lane, to be the greatest rapper alive and leave it at that. But he had a bigger vision. He famously said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman." And that right there, that is a profound shift in thinking. He wasn't just an employee of the music industry, he was the CEO of JayZ Inc. This meant he had to think about his brand, his assets, and his investments in a completely different way. He started his own record label, Rockefeller Records, because he wanted ownership. He wanted control. He wanted to build the table, not just have a seat at it. That single decision to create his own label was the first major step in a long journey of diversification. From there, he launched a clothing line, Rockaware. He invested in a high-end champagne brand, Armand de Brignac, and a cognac, Douce. He opened sports bars, started a sports management agency, and launched a music streaming service, Tidal. Each venture was a new stream of income, a new pillar supporting his growing empire. He wasn't just chasing money, he was strategically building a diversified portfolio that could withstand the ups and downs of any single industry. He was playing the long game, looking far beyond the next hit record. And that long game wasn't just for him. It was about something deeper, something that resonates with the core of what it means to build a legacy. JayZ's focus shifted to creating generational wealth. This is a concept that so many of us need to embrace. It's not just about being rich, it's about creating a financial foundation so strong that it can support your children, your grandchildren, and their children after them. It's about breaking cycles of poverty and creating new cycles of opportunity. He wasn't just building a business, he was building a dynasty, ensuring that his family would have a head start that he never did. This is the ultimate expression of abundance. It's moving from how can I secure my own future to how can I secure the future for generations to come. This requires a monumental shift in how you view money and assets. You start thinking about trusts, about estate planning, about investments that will grow and compound long after you're gone. You start teaching your children about financial literacy, not as a chore, but as a birthright. JayZ understood that the greatest gift he could give his children wasn't just money, but the knowledge and the infrastructure to preserve and grow that wealth for the future. The key takeaway from JayZ's incredible journey is the power of diversification and the importance of building generational wealth. Don't limit yourself to one path or one stream of income. Use the success you have today as leverage to open new doors tomorrow. Think like a CEO of your own life. What are your different departments? What are your various revenue streams? How can you expand your portfolio? Whether it's investing in stocks, starting a side hustle, or buying real estate, the principle is the same. Spread your risk and multiply your opportunities for growth. And as you build, think beyond yourself. Think about the legacy you want to leave behind. What are you building that will outlast you? It's a powerful, motivating force that can drive you to achieve more than you ever thought possible. It transforms your work from a simple job into a mission, a purpose-driven quest to build something meaningful and enduring. This isn't just a strategy for the rich. It's a mindset that can empower every single one of us to create a better future for ourselves and for those who will come after us. All right, now I want to talk about a woman whose story is a testament to the sheer, unadulterated power of persistence. A woman who looked failure in the eye so many times it became an old friend. I'm talking about the brilliant Sara Blakeley, the founder of Spanx. Her journey didn't start in a fancy business school or with a pile of investor cash. It started with a simple problem. She wanted to wear white pants to a party but didn't have the right undergarment. So, you know what she did? She took a pair of scissors to her pantyhose, and in that moment, an idea worth $1 billion was born. But an idea, as we all know, is just the beginning. The real work, the real test of character, comes in turning that idea into a reality. Sara faced a tidal wave of rejection. She took her handmade prototype, tucked it into her lucky red backpack, and went door to door to hosiery mills in North Carolina. Every single one of them told her no. They didn't get it. They laughed at her. They thought she was crazy. Can you imagine the courage it takes to hear no over and over and over again, and still get up the next day, put that backpack on, and try again? That is the essence of true grit. This is where her mindset about failure becomes so incredibly important for all of us to learn from. Sara's father used to ask her and her brother at the dinner table, "What did you fail at this week?" If they didn't have an answer, he would be disappointed. Think about that. He wasn't celebrating their successes, he was celebrating their attempts, their willingness to try something and risk not succeeding. This reframed the entire concept of failure for her. It wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was evidence that she was pushing herself, that she was living outside of her comfort zone. It was a badge of honor. How many of us are so paralyzed by the fear of failing that we don't even try? We have brilliant ideas, dreams, and aspirations, but we let that fear keep them locked inside. Sara Blakeley teaches us that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. It's data. It's a lesson. Every no she received taught her something new about her pitch, about her product, about the industry she was trying to break into. She didn't let the rejection define her. She let it refine her. She used it as fuel for her fire, determined to prove every single one of them wrong. After countless rejections from the mills, one owner finally called her back. Not because he saw the genius in her idea, but because his 3 daughters had convinced him to give her a chance. That one yes was all she needed to get her product made. But the fight was far from over. She then had to get department stores to carry Spanx. She called Neiman Marcus for weeks, getting rejected every time, until she decided to fly to Dallas and ask for just 10 minutes of the buyer's time. She was so passionate, so convinced, that she took the buyer into the ladies' restroom to show her the before and after difference herself. That bold move sealed the deal. This part of her story highlights another crucial element of her mindset. Persistence is more important than talent, connections, or even perfection. Sara didn't have a background in fashion or business. She was selling fax machines door to door before she started Spanx. What she had was an unshakable belief in her product and a relentless will to succeed. She wrote her own patent to save money on lawyers. She designed her own packaging because she couldn't afford a design firm. She called up friends to help her ship orders from her apartment. She did whatever it took, for as long as it took. Sara has a powerful quote that I think we should all write down and put on our mirrors. She says, "It's important to be willing to make mistakes. The worst thing that can happen is you become memorable." This is about embracing imperfection and taking action. You don't need to have it all figured out before you start. You don't need the perfect business plan or the perfect website. You just need to begin. You will make mistakes, you will stumble, but every misstep is a learning opportunity that moves you one step closer to your goal. The key is to keep moving forward, no matter what. So, the lesson from the incredible Sara Blakeley is twofold. First, you have to redefine your relationship with failure. See it as a necessary stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Actively seek out experiences that push you, even if you might not succeed. Second, you must cultivate relentless persistence. Your passion and your belief in your vision have to be stronger than the chorus of no's you will inevitably hear. Talent is wonderful, but persistence is unstoppable. It is the single greatest predictor of success in any endeavor you choose to pursue in your life. So there you have it. From JayZ's strategic empire building to Sara Blakeley's relentless persistence, we've journeyed through the powerful mindsets that build extraordinary lives and fortunes. What I want you to understand today, what I want you to truly feel in your spirit, is that the rich aren't rich by accident. It is not luck, and it is not chance. It is a result of a conscious and deliberate way of thinking, a series of choices they make every single day. They see the world through a different lens, one that is focused on opportunity, growth, and legacy. They think differently. They see abundance where others see scarcity. They see opportunity where others see obstacles. They take calculated risks, understanding that the biggest risk of all is never trying. They are patient, allowing the magic of compounding to work for them while living with discipline and intention. They understand the fundamental difference between things that make them rich and things that make them look rich. They are constantly learning, growing, and adapting, knowing that their greatest asset is their own mind. This way of thinking is not a secret reserved for a select few. It is available to every single one of us. They leverage their resources, turning their unique talents, their brand, and their network into powerful financial assets. They build diverse portfolios, creating multiple streams of income that provide security and fuel further growth. And perhaps most importantly, they learn from failure. They embrace it, they grow from it, and they persist through it, knowing that every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Your future is not written in stone. It is a blank page, and you hold the pen. Your future is in your hands, and it will be determined by the mindsets you choose to adopt today. So I'm asking you, what will you choose? I want to challenge you right now. Start by choosing just one mindset from today's video and put it into action this week. Will you practice seeing abundance? Will you take one small, calculated risk? Will you redefine your relationship with failure? The choice is yours. If you found value in our time together today, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Tell us the name of 1 or 2 people you want us to feature next, and who was your favorite inspiration from this video. This is Real Money Fi, empowering you to turn side hustles into financial freedom. We'll see you in the next video.